How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast.
You're going to say something. I know it. I can just tell already. I can tell you had that shit-eating grin, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to get called out right now.
If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. You know how it goes down here. If you're oh god, you threw me off, Mike. See, we've been out of tune we haven't recorded about a week or so when you threw me off the intro already.
I was at Disneyland, man. I messed it up, and now I'm back and exhausted and a few shots in. So this is going to be a fun-ass podcast.
Well, Mike, let the people know they can find you on Twitter, sir.
At CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, guys, like I was saying, me and Mike have been MIA for a while, but it's always like to come back on a Victory Monday. But before we discuss any football, we must, of course, discuss Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu today?
I actually just had lentil soup. I've been having a lot of my one of the two places that my buddy owns that I had worked at is closing down. And so I've been eating that since I got back because it's going to be gone. So you might as well, try it out. So I took some lentil soup home. I had that for lunch or for dinner. And so it's kind of a bummer, it's a bummer saying goodbye and saying goodbye to everybody. I'm going to steal a couple of them to go over to way back. Obviously, y'all know I'm going to take B with me. Her bestie / cousin Mel is going to go with me over there. Jeremiah is going to go over there. So, and Mitchell, of course, is going. So we'll take some of the crew over and shape them up there at way back and get them going and throw out the riffraff.
Yes, sir. Lentil soup, man. That's some good stuff, sir.
Yeah, I love lentil soup. It's so weird because it seems like when you make it, you're like, lentil soup. I'm having lentil soup, but it tastes really, if you season it well, it's a great soup.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Especially now, what's over here in Texas, man, we're kind of going through a thunderstorm. My mother-in-law, she made some chili. It hit the spot, but now it's kind of getting cold. So, those brothier soups like lentil soup, wonton, that kind of stuff, that always hits the spot, man. It makes you, I was craving pho earlier this morning when the storm was coming in.
Man, I have this great pho place right down the street from my house now. That is, and they have amazing banh mi sandwiches too. So it's
dude,
beautiful.
I'm still looking for a good ramen spot. I've only had a couple of bowls of ramen that's been hit or miss, but the one that I did have was really good. So I'm hoping to find one I can hit up regularly.
Ramen Hayachi is way closer to way back than it was to Daphne's. They're all in the same parking lot. So I did get closer to the ramen place. So I am excited about that. I'm excited to be right there. That ramen's so good.
Matt, you had quite the trip though, Mike. I appreciate all the food picks. Not too many churros this weekend, it looked like.
There was only two like distinct ones that, this is the original churro, but I have to watch it how much I have because I'm diabetic and I've gained like 20 pounds. So I have to friggin' get off of that kick. But so I tried the two that I had never tried before. One of them was a chocolate churro with like a peanut butter vanilla sauce, and then the other was the peanut butter churro. I don't know what it was, if there was like peanut butter month is October or something, but yeah, there was a lot of that. So I tried them. Both were very good. Neither of them were as good as the original churro though.
Oh, so Mike, we saw all the food picks, but was there anything else, on the trip that you wanted to discuss? Did you have a good time? Talk to us a little bit about that.
I love Disney, and a lot of people probably thought we were hiding because Eagles beat us, this and that. Dude, this trip's been planned for months and months. So he already knew I was not going to be there. The people at Cowboys Wire, the reason you didn't get a 3 stars isn't because there wasn't anybody that didn't play well or anything. When I go on vacation, I want to go on vacation. I didn't want to be bothered about nothing. I didn't want to do Cowboys stuff. Even if we won, there was not going to be a podcast. That would have been sad because beating the Eagles with Cooper Rush would have been.
Oh my God,
dude! I would have wanted to be on that podcast. You might have done a podcast just because without me. Right. So, but yeah, it was a planned out vacation. I needed it, and now I'm back. I'm back to being exhausted already, and feeling pretty good.
Well, Mike, at least you got to witness the victory that was yesterday over the Lions. When you look at that game, did Dallas meet your expectations?
It did for me. I saw
Yeah.
that it missed a lot of expectations, but for me, I looked at it. I was like, Lions are coming off a bye week. Dak wasn't really able to go full bore practice this last week. And he's been out for 5-6 weeks. So I expected the offense to be rusty. I expected Detroit's defense to be better coming off a bye. That was their weak point. So I figured they'd be working on that. So I thought it would be tougher. And Dan Campbell being from Dallas, that extra motivation. So I
Exactly.
thought it'd be tougher. But luckily, we have Micah Parsons and other teams don't.
Well, Mike, it's funny because prior to the game, on Twitter, I kept having this gut feeling that this was going to be a hiccup game for Dallas. I felt like the Cowboys were going to be obviously excited about Dak coming back. Maybe Jerry Jones might throw out some bulletin board material there for the Lions, and we might just kind of overlook these guys again being excited about Dak coming back. And of course, you mentioned the rust. I felt like I had predicted. I was talking to our guy Foots the King. I said, I feel like I asked him because I said I feel like the Cowboys might have a hiccup game. I feel like we're going to lose this one. He didn't feel that way, of course, because he's smart. He knows what he's talking about. But yeah, I mean, to see them come out the way that they did the first half, I was like, okay, this is kind of what I expected. But we know how the defense performed, and we saw Dak kind of get into a rhythm, the run game get going. So it was nice to see them prove me wrong. But yeah, I mean, they exceeded my expectations because I thought we were going to lose.
What I love about Foots is he is very even keel. He doesn't overreact to, I feel like he doesn't say it like I do, where I say about their human beings, but he kind of understands that. Like
Right.
we're dealing with human beings. So when you look like I just didn't expect Dak to throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns off a team coming off a bye in its first game back. And the way I look at it is Detroit, they just weren't really a threat against our defense. And so eventually I thought, well, they're not going to score a lot on our defense, and our offense would do enough to win. And that's basically what happened.
Well, see, my thing was I thought Detroit was going to come out hungry after the bye, and you look at their record. I know they're now 1-5, but 3 of those games they had lost by single-digit points. One possession, or one score games rather. So I felt like that they would kind of right the ship against us.
Yeah, the hope for Detroit right now is they start to learn to win some of those games
Exactly.
going into the next season, because they play a style of football that leads to close games. Like that's the style they play. And so if they could start to turn that around and win some of those, it would be big for them going into next year.
Yeah, they can't get out of their own way, man.
I know that they go ahead. If they don't fumble in the 1-yard line and they score a touchdown there, they take the lead in the fourth quarter against Dallas. Like that's a lot of pressure going on the Dallas defense. But after that fumble, the next 3 possessions, the last 3 for Detroit, all turnovers. So they kind of fell apart after that.
Yeah, and to Detroit's credit, they didn't have DeAndre Swift, one of their better playmakers, or Amon-Ra St. Brown, who went out in the first quarter too. So it's always tough to kind of overcome that.
Yes, I agree. That the thing, we'll talk about that later. That is a thing that I have talking about the players that were out. That'll be part of a discussion later on in the pod.
All right, Michael. Next to our next talking point here, it's which player impressed you most yesterday?
You know what? Do you have one?
My Sam Williams, Mike, on 12 reps, what he was able to do is just filthy. Was Sam Williams your guy too, or who are you going with?
It ended up being 14 snaps total. He was credited for.
Yeah.
And he had 3 tackles, 2 of them for a loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Like,
dude,
if that
goodness, bro,
man, if that kid ends up hitting right now, he's so fast that tackles are so worried about him that he wins almost basically on leverage. He doesn't know what he's doing out there. And it sounds like an insult, but it's just, that's how raw talented he is. Like that he's like, taking over some pass rush reps on just raw ability. if that guy learns how to use his hands and learns how to counter, his speed and leverage ability that he has now, man, that he could be real scary. And what's going to happen is year 3 is normally when pass rushers really come up. Dorrance Armstrong's here for 2 years.
Yeah.
He's going to go probably get a really big contract because it looks like he's going to be an 8 to 10 sack guy.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Williams steps in. You take a comp pick, and that's pretty damn good team building right there. Got to give the front office credit for that.
Going from Randy Gregory to Dorrance Armstrong to Sam Williams, that's not fair.
Yeah, it's pretty. And the whole time you had DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side.
Yeah, and Michael Parsons.
Yeah,
doing his thing. It's crazy. Just when I think our defensive line can't get any better, because every week it's Micah, right? But then one week it's DeMarcus Lawrence taking over a game. One week it's Osa. One week it's Dorrance Armstrong, and now it's Sam Williams. I mean, it's just unfair, dude.
Yeah, it is. And then Carlos Watkins come in and has a good game. Like, he plays stout up the middle. Teams are starting to attack us to the edge, which was the whole Dak era. It was right up the middle. Mm-hmm. And now Dan Quinn's kind of said, "No, we ain't going to allow that." And teams are having to go to the edge, and it's just harder to win that way. The more you have to make teams go outside, the harder it is for them to take advantage of that. So it's a real big positive for Dallas's defense.
Now, Mike, forgive me for this question because it might be dumb, but I feel like Neville Gallimore's kind of, I don't know. I haven't seen much of him. It doesn't seem like he's had that great of a year. I mean, did I miss an injury or what's going on with Neville Gallimore?
No, he's been fine. He's not been bad, but Osa, Golston, Tank moving inside, Hill, and who do we just,
Sam Williams.
Carlos
Watkins.
Yeah, Carlos Watkins. All those guys are moving inside and playing well. And so, this week he was inactive for an injury. They put that out there that it was injury based. But I'm interested to see. There's nothing wrong with more pass rush reps. The more depth you have on your defensive line, the better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not mad about it, but it's just if it becomes routine where he's inactive, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, for sure. So, Mikey, this was an interesting question here that you proposed. It's about Tyler Smith and Jason Peters, and you're asking should the team move Tyler to left guard and Jason Peters to left tackle? I'll give you my answer here. I feel like, if it makes the team better, yes, but I haven't seen anything again with my untrained eye to warrant moving Tyler. But you kind of break it down for me.
All right. So the first thing is Peters is bad at left guard. Like, he's just not good. So yeah. You're basically saying, do you want to not use him? Like, would you rather have McGovern at left guard and Smith at left tackle, or Peters at left tackle and Smith at left guard?
Right.
Smith had the really good game where he was put out there against Washington, where the team had to kind of focus on D tackles. And since then, he's been, not great. He hasn't been bad, but he hasn't been great. So if the team said, looking at how Tyler Smith is, maybe upon the return of Tyron Smith, which that's the rumor swirling that he could be back sooner than later.
Okay.
If we're going to have him come back and play left tackle for the last stretch of the season, would it be a good idea to move Tyler Smith inside now, get Peters back at his natural left tackle position, and kind of prepare for Tyron to come back, knowing that if anything happens to Peters, we can just move Tyler Smith right back outside and McGovern right back in. I'm okay with that. I would be fine. I don't think Tyler Smith's been great enough at left tackle to where you're like, okay, he can't be moved right now. He's already shown that he can move back and forth to spots in short notice.
Mm-hmm.
So if the team decided to do that, I would understand it. I would not be against it.
Yeah, I guess when you break it down that way, of course, we drafted him to be our left guard, potential Tyron replacement. But, if with Tyron coming back or Peters coming back, them being experienced at left tackle for what we'd like to think is a deep playoff run, then, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that is kind of what it's for. If you're setting up for the playoffs, I kind of would rather have Tyler at left guard and then Tyron or Peters at left tackle.
Yeah. So another thing here, Mike, was yesterday in the first half, it kind of seemed that the offense couldn't get into a rhythm. Did you feel that maybe McCarthy was taking too much of a conservative approach?
I would say that yes, he is taking a conservative approach. And the reason I don't mind it is your quarterback's coming off an injury. You kind of want to work him back in. And you have a defense where you look across the field. And as Detroit, number one offense, looks great and everything, like you were talking about, Amon St. Brown, Sweat is out. Like, they're not that unit. And even if they were that unit, they ain't faced Dallas's defense yet.
Yeah.
So I think what happened is Dan Quinn kind of went in and said, Detroit shouldn't really have anything on us. So there's no reason for you to go extravagant. Score 20 points, we got it.
Right.
And I think that's why Mike McCarthy was being conservative. They were playing to the team's strengths, and the team's strength is defense.
Yeah, I kind of felt in the first half they were trying to force Dak getting into a rhythm, trying to force things, not playing, not letting things come naturally. In the second half, we saw things, the tide turn, of course. But we're going to talk about this here next. But what I didn't understand, Mike, was it looked like we were going to go for a fourth down there in the red zone. We opted for the field goal. It looked like, I don't know, they saw a look that they didn't like, and they called a timeout and switched. Did you have any thoughts on that play? Did you see anything there?
I just think at first Kellen Moore was going to go for it, and Mike McCarthy said, "Nah, let's just put some points up. There's no need to. We just need to score a few points. This offense really isn't a threat against our defense, and so let's just put our points up, score, and we'll worry about the next drive next time." So I understood the strategy there for Dallas to just take the points. So we have a great defense. Let's rely on them.
And when I think about it, Mike, I really don't mind it, because if they were saving a play against, maybe they're saving something for the Packers, for the Giants, a look that they don't want to show just yet.
Absolutely. Save your play. Although Chicago's looking good right now up in New England, I don't really want them getting too exotic or crazy in either of those, unless they're like tendency breakers.
Yeah.
Something that is like, well, in this situation, we do this 80% of the time. So let's run a couple of different stuff from those formations against the Bears, so that teams have to, think that might happen, Get that done versus a team that's not that great. And then when Green Bay, Minnesota comes in, start to unleash on them.
Right. Mike, we talked a little bit about Micah Parsons, but no offensive coordinators can really stop him. You can only hope to contain him. But, the last couple of weeks, do you feel like the OCs have been doing anything to slow Micah down a bit, or is it mainly just Micah not being 100%?
No, I'll give them credit. They're making, what they're doing is they're starting to run at him when he lines up at defensive end or edge, or screening behind him.
Yeah.
Let him get upfield, throw the screen in behind him, work his aggressiveness against him.
Yeah.
So I'll give OC's credit. I do think that the reason Micah Parsons only played 42 snaps is that what do they call that thing where you have a limit that you could do? Like for Dak, it's a limited amount of throws that he could do and everything. So I think they're kind of saying, hey, let's ease off this guy so we can keep him all year, because we don't need a beat and bruised up Micah Parsons going in the playoffs. We need a healthy one.
Yeah, I was saying, I was listening to Brian Broaddus after the Eagles game, and he was saying that what the Eagles were doing is they were making him have to think instead of just letting him play. Like, he started kind of second guessing himself. He couldn't just attack. He had to think about what he was doing. So we're starting to kind of see that.
Yeah, I agree. RPOs, run at him, screen towards him, stuff to just slow his pass rush down.
Another thing, Mike, that's been, what I've noticed yesterday, again, I know a more conservative game plan, but it just seems dating even back to last year that our wide receivers can get taken out of games so easily. Why do you think that is?
I think part of it is play calling. As you can see, the other great play callers like Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, they find ways to get their guys targets, and they find ways to scheme them open. So it's not always about can the wide receiver beat the guy in front of him. It's about, well, by this scheme, we'll be able to beat him because we schemed it up where it's just going to work and we can force feed him. It doesn't seem like we do that enough. And the other thing is, they're not great. The wide receivers just aren't great. They're not great enough to dominate good cornerbacks. Like CeeDee Lamb's a borderline 2, a great 1, or a borderline 1, a great 2.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Gallup is a great 2. Dalton Schultz is a less dynamic impact tight end. So it's hard for me to like, oh yeah, that guy's going to get, double, triple team. Like it's not, look at the boss is calling me. He doesn't know I'm on my podcast. So, I think it is a combo of the wide receivers not being, top level and the coordinator not scheming
maximizing
them.
their strengths. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the boss I'm on my pod. Go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, I was just thinking, Mike, if Noah Brown, doesn't have that drop or that fumble in the red zone, if if maybe one of them catches a touchdown, it kind of looks better because overall CeeDee Lamb's been having a good season. I mean, even as our sole receiver, I feel like he's had better numbers than even I expected. Especially Noah Brown with Cooper Kupp, he helped us, during that stretch as well. And then Michael Gallup, it's just been kind of hard for him to get into a rhythm. And I mean, he had a touchdown. I think it was like I don't know if it was his first or second week back, but even then, it's just he hasn't really had a lot of targets, a lot of volume. So I do think it's kind of a little bit more of Kellen Moore. But to your point, I do think I would like to see what our offense would look like if we had like a George Pickens or a Waddle or just something like that. A different skill set to open things up for the other guys.
100% agree. And I also agree. I would lean more. I would put more of the blame on Moore. Scheme is important. I know he ran the number 1 offense last 2 years, and that's great, but he is lacking in how he uses his motion and stuff like that to set up matchups. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
We say more, but is it somebody from the front office? That's
very possible. Our boy not be trite mentioned that, and it's very possible that he's like, extra conservative, run the ball. Let's lean on the defense.
Do you think maybe Jalen Tolbert could be like a second half surge player, Mike, or should Dallas consider bringing in another guy? I mean, apparently I heard that James Washington's supposed to be coming back, but would one of those guys help, or do you think Dallas should consider bringing somebody in?
I believe that they believe James Washington's that guy, and I think he'll have some impact plays, but I don't believe he is that guy. I would bring in another receiver to replace Amari. The team desperately misses Amari Cooper. And yeah, I would make a move, whether it's a trade or a signing.
Mm-hmm.
I would make a move for a wide receiver if we're really going for a title this year.
Off the top of your head, who would you like to see us maybe trade for? Is there anybody?
Oh man. I don't know if a Claypool would be available because the team has Deontay Johnson and Pickens, the Steelers. I wouldn't mind a Kadarius Toney, but that's in division. I don't care what he brings to the locker room. We have great coaches in Dak, so we'll be good leadership wise. I wouldn't mind signing OBJ.
Okay.
Jerry Jeudy, I heard, might be on the block.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy and Claypool are both on the block. I found that interesting.
Yeah, that's another one I would be interested in for Dallas.
All right, Mike. We talked a couple weeks ago about our defense being a Super Bowl winning defense, but looking at this offense, even with Dak, is it a Super Bowl winning offense?
I think the run game is.
Yeah.
The run game with our defense and special teams makes them a contender. Can the pass game get there is the question. As they get rhythm, as the O-line works together more, as the QB learns by the O-line, as the wide receivers learn all together with them, can they get good enough as the playoffs start to beat a team that figures out our defense a little bit and is able to score 24 points? Can our offense put up 31?
Mm-hmm.
And I think eventually they will.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike. Here we are with your views from the sidelines, and this week I want you to discuss what is going on with Anthony Brown, because I heard Brian brought us again. He was talking about after the Phillies game that Anthony Brown overall this season has been pretty mediocre. What are your thoughts on Anthony Brown this season?
Okay, so back in 1995, my favorite player for Dallas, not named Michael Irvin, was a cornerback named Kevin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Smith is one of the most underrated players I ever seen. He just locked fools up.
Yeah.
He just did. He was a really good corner. The Cowboys then went out and signed Deion Sanders. And teams said, I don't care how good this guy is. We're not throwing a Deion, so we got to pick on Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith's numbers went up, and it seemed like, damn, this guy's getting killed. Like, what happened to Kevin Smith? I think that's what's happening with AB. And if you watch this last game, the quarterback really went after the tight ends. And Kurtz was a tight end eliminator last year. And I think what basically happened is Diggs has took another leap forward, and teams are like, nah, bro, we're not trying that. Like, this guy, we're not doing it. And so they go to AB more, and that's what happens is you have to go to your you have to have it's hard for me to put I need them to, like, okay, so Diggs is going to take away one guy. What are you going to do if Diggs can take away the best guy? Is there a way with Jordan Lewis out? Is there a way to help shift to AB? I know they don't really like doing that, but if the team's just going to say we can't go after one side, right? Is there a way they can go? Is there a way they can, maneuver? I trust Curse and Hooker and Donovan Wilson to be good versus tight ends for the most part. So is there a way you can kind of push something towards AB's way? And if they do that, what negatives does that bring? Because it's hard to change when you're doing so good. You don't want to really drastically change. Our defense is amazing. But when you get against Aaron Rodgers, what do you do to keep him from just killing AB? So I'll be interested. It's not that AB's gotten killed, but he hasn't faced an Aaron Rodgers yet. So what happens when a Adam Thielen runs into him, while Diggs is on Jefferson? What happens when a Juju Smith-Schuster, not great receivers, but vets get in there? What can they do? Maybe an Allen Robinson when Coop, if they face the Rams again. What can they do to help out AB so he's just not picked apart, and they can get third downs and keep drives going and wear down our defense? So I'm interested to see if Quinn just goes, no, we're good. If AB gives up some plays, we'll be fine. Or if he tries to adjust and shift a little bit.
Could we see, obviously Jordan Lewis going down is going to bring, elevate Bland a little bit. Do you think Bland is going to, take advantage of this opportunity?
He will, and I love him. He's a Fresno State guy, so obviously I do. But you don't want a bunch of rookies out there.
Oh, no, of course. I'm just, I wonder if how much he could help AB, or do you think that maybe they might put AB on slots and put Bland outside, or you think they probably not get that cute, or?
I would do that. I would shift AB into the slot, start him at, put him outside if it's, two wide receivers. The minute they bring a third in, I would shift him into the slot. He's just always been good in the slot. He's never been a liability, and I love Bland on the outside. The thing that people don't understand is Jordan Lewis, I get it. He's not an elite player or anything, but their communication between that group has been building for 3 years now, and it just is impactful. So losing him and bringing in a rookie who doesn't have the instincts and the communication down, the cohesiveness with the rest of the DB field is going to be an issue.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Mike, here we are with one word, and this week we're going to use one word to describe Dak's performance.
My one word will be rush plus.
Okay, so I've never heard that.
It was very Cooper Rush-esque, but with a little plus to it. There's a little bit. You could see like the stuff they could do that Rush really couldn't. Throws to the outside, stuff like that. But the stats ended up being very Cooper Rush like. Under 200 yards, I think, of net yardage passing. Very efficient, no turnovers. So only a couple of sacks. They were doing a good enough job. So I think it was Rush plus.
Dude, Dak had that nasty throw to CeeDee Lamb in double coverage, dude. That was an absolute just freaking dime.
That was a clean throw. There was another one where he threw into triple coverage that if Lamb kind of went for it, like I think Dak thought he would, it would look like a better throw than it looked on tape.
And then even that one over the shoulder to Schultz, my God, dude.
Oh, that was clean. That was a pre-snap read, and he hit it perfect.
For me, Mike, I didn't get as creative as you did, but I feel like this perfectly sums it up. It's Dak's performance was efficient, like most weeks.
Yeah, and you want better on third downs, but he was 75% in the red zone. And the one that they didn't score was a Noah Brown fumble at the 5-yard line. Otherwise, they likely go 4 for 4, touchdowns, and we score 30 points. And now everybody's like, damn, this team looks really good.
And took a 19 for 25, dude. I mean, especially with as bad as he looked in the first half throwing. I mean, gosh.
Cannot complain about his performance. You just can't.
Right. All right, Mike, here we are. This is going to be, I guess, a continuation top 5, if you will. A couple of weeks ago, we did our top 5 male actresses. You called me, I forget what you called me for not having any female actresses on my list. So we decided to rank our top 5 female actresses this week. I don't want the woke mob coming after us, Mike, thinking that we don't respect women here. So hit us with number 5 on your list. We're also, I think we added that if you have one, maybe our favorite performance, like their movie or TV show that they were in that we liked. That's kind of what maybe led them to be one of our favorites.
So to be honest, there's no good women actresses. They're terrible compared to. No, I'm just kidding. No. Okay, let me get off that before people take that seriously. I'm going Emily Blunt at 5.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going Edge of Tomorrow. As,
incredible movie, dude.
So good, so original, so brilliant. She's a badass in it. Yeah. She is the heroine. Like, she is the badass. And Tom Cruise is kind of a goof. And it was just a great movie. If you haven't seen it before, it's like a Groundhog's Day, but an action movie.
Yes, sir. Our number 5 on my list, Mike. I assume you're going to know who this is. I'm not sure how familiar you will be, but I'm going with Vera Farmiga from Bates Motel, the mother in Bates Motel. She was the girlfriend in The Departed. She's done a lot of good things, sir.
Great.
Yeah, I was looking over her IMDb just to see what all she's done. I'm like, man, I can't believe she's been in all these things, because Bates Motel is my favorite, dude, but she's incredible.
You nailed the 2. Norman Bates' mom, and then Departed.
Yeah.
Just brilliant, and the both really good, worth watching, and she's great in both.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she is, and she's uniquely beautiful. She looks she has a unique look that's not matched by others. She's has a different look.
Yeah, for those of you who might not be familiar with Bates Motel, or I imagine you're familiar with The Departed, but she's also the wife to the husband, and like the couple that's in The Conjuring, like the Conjuring couple that tries to do the exorcisms, if you will.
Yeah, Josh Lucas's counterpoint. I'm not really into those movies.
Right.
That's why that wouldn't be one of mine. Mine would definitely be The Departed. That's like a top 5 movie all time for me.
Dude, yeah, mine too. All right, Mike, number 4 on my list, I'm going with the amazing Jennifer Lawrence, and I'm going with her performance in Silver Linings Playbook. Although I thought, say what you will, but I thought her, I like her also in the Hunger Games movies too. I just think those are good movies.
Yeah, first of all, she was 6 for me. She was right there. That was a battle. She's incredible. Yeah. I love the Hunger Games, almost all of them. But you're right. Silver Linings, another top 5 for me. It's Silver Linings Playbook is in my top 5. maybe top 10, depending on if I'm adding like Star Wars, Marvel movies. But yeah, Silver Linings Playbook, she's so good in that. God. If you haven't seen Silver Linings Playbook, watch it. It is fantastic.
Seriously. All right, Mike, who's number 4 on your list?
Amy Adams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Another
I love
good one,
Amy
man.
Adams. Enchanted. She has quite a few. I mean, The Fighter is excellent.
Oh,
Another one. I put Enchanted because I'm a Disney freak, and I think that was like the start of the live action. I believe that her take on a Disney princess in real life kind of was like the key for them to go, we ought to do these live action things. I just believe that. I have no proof of that, but I just believe that. She was so fantastic as like bringing a Disney princess from like the animated old school into real world, 2000s. I just thought she was genius. I love Amy Adams. So yeah, she's up there for me.
Yeah, she's been in quite a few good ones as well. All right, Mike, number 3 on your list.
Sandra Bullock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sandra Bullock's great. And man, you want to talk about hard to nail down one movie. Crash is amazing. Damn it. See, too much Grey Goose. There was another one that it's not Speed or any of those. She plays a Time to Kill. She's not even a character in the book, but she was so good that they brought her in and made her one of the main characters as a character that's not even in the book. She was just amazing, so they added her. But my movie's Demolition Man. She's so great in Wesley Snipes is the star of that movie.
Yeah.
But her and Sylvester Stallone, her playing the like naive, new type of future cop that loves the old school. It's like a person that loves 80s action movies, but she sees it in real life, Yeah. And it's so fantastic. Like Demolition Man is one of my favorite action movies of all time.
Good one, Mike. You have some a much different list than I do, but number 3 on my list, Mike, this might have been my first Hollywood crush outside of like, a Kelly Kapowski, Saved by the Bell. But number 3, Miss Scarlett Johansson, and the first movie I remember seeing her in, Lost in Translation, sir.
Yes, Scarlett Johansson is a knockout, gorgeous, a Marvel legend. I'm surprised that one of the Marvel, like Infinity War, is so good. I'm so shocked that wasn't your top. And she's great in that. Like, it's been long enough where we could spoil it. That scene between her and Hawkeye to get the Soul Stone. Oh, wait, that's Endgame. Pardon me. Endgame. And that is that is fantastic. Matter of fact, Endgame would have been my top with her. She's in Infinity War, but she's so important in Endgame that it's just so good.
Not that it's a very good movie, but she's actually really good in Iron Man too, as well.
Yeah, I agree. Her having to come in and be Black Widow, so tough, on that role. Can I ask again? You had number 4 was Bates Motel. Was our girl.
Number 5, Bates Motel. Number 4, Silver Linings Playbook. Number 3, Scarlett Johansson, Lost in Translation.
Got it. All right. What you got for 2?
Number 2, Margot Robbie, I, Tonya.
Oh, so good. A lot of people haven't seen that movie either.
That's so freaking good. It's crazy how good it is.
It's amazing. Not Wolf of Wall Street, though, huh?
No, I love Wolf of Wall Street. It's just, I like her in it, of course. I mean, there's that one scene, I think, with like he has the baby monitor or something, like there's the video camera or whatever. But no, well, her as the star and I, Tonya, I really like that performance. I thought she was funny. She's still, super, super hot.
Paul, that one scene in Wolf of Wall Street is that one scene. Let's, we're males here. Even half the females are like, come on, Paul. The one scene in Wolf of Wall Street we know what that scene is. The Bears are about to go up 33-14 in the fourth quarter in New England.
Oh, wow.
I am That would have been my lock.
Score update. What's
That's
that?
easy. That would have been my lock game. Is New England, Bill Belichick shutting down Justin Fields in New England and them winning. I don't care who their quarterback is. So
Hey man, are the Bears turning a corner, sir? Kind of
what's
looks
that?
like it, right? The Bears might be turning a corner.
Let's not have that right before we play them, please.
Exactly, but it looks like it's happening, dude.
I'm glad, it's not bad that they're winning though, because now you get, you won on the big Monday night stage on the road. You kind of exhale like, what a big win. You travel, short week, we'll talk about this on our next pod that's previewing Dallas Bears, but
Yeah.
good omens there with them winning that game.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, who's number 2 on your list?
Number 2, Anne Hathaway.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't get Diane Lane in there because Diane Lane would have just been a straight, I have a crush on her one. Like, she's my one to this day.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
care how old she is. I love Diane Lane.
Yeah.
I could have got her in here, but Anne Hathaway was my mix of like Oscar-winning talent, and I had a crush on her for a really long time. Got a little weird after the Alice in Wonderland thing, but she looks like she's coming back, to regular. I don't know. She was like, I can't explain it. She was a little weird after Alice in Wonderland. I don't know why, but she's just so good. Devil Wears Prada is the movie too. I mean,
still to this day, I've never seen it.
You have to see that movie.
I will. Maybe it's something I'll watch with the wife.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'll check that out. All right, Mike, here we are, number 1. Who is number 1 on your list?
Meryl Streep.
I had a feeling.
The ultimate. She's
the
up
Queen
there.
Goat.
In my opinion, she could be put with Tom Hanks and Denzel. She's like Madonna with Michael Jackson for me. Michael Jackson's always going to be my top guy, but I never really go crazy if somebody says Prince or Madonna. I don't have them ahead of Michael Jackson, but I wouldn't like argue it like, oh, y'all are crazy. Like, right. No, I mean, it's Madonna and Prince. Like, of course they deserve, recognition. And Meryl Streep's my one for that. She's incredible. And again, her movie is Devil Wears Prada, where she's the even more like, God, that movie's so good. She plays like such a terrible person. She's like, those type of people are just anti-me. I'm not into like putting down people for how they look or their appearance, but the movie makes you like, you kind of get it, like I still don't like it. Like, I'm freaking wearing pajamas right now. Like, seriously. So like, I'm just not, and I like will wear them out. I don't care. Like I was working in them all day today. It doesn't bother me. So for people to be like, oh, you're not dressed, or like you're a 2 and you should be a 0, and that stuff it's not my thing, but they do it in a way where it's funny. And then they also like make you understand where they're coming from where they are in the world, from what their job is and everything. So
right.
The movie's absolutely incredible. Definitely in my top 20 movies of all time. So yeah, you need to watch that one.
Yes, sir. I'll have to check that out. All right, Mike, number 1 on my list, I'm going with the very funny, the very charming, the very beautiful Emma Stone, and her performance in Cruella is really what kind of showed me a different side of her.
She's a dude. You know how hard it was to Cruella back in the day. I knew Cruella had to be different. Cruella old school was like this lady that was like, I'm not even joking, beat these dogs over the head so I could have their fur. That was not going to work in 2022. Like it just wasn't.
No.
Yeah. So the way they flipped it and made her more a fashion icon, pre her going crazy and going after dogs and stuff, it was really well done and smoothly done. And it really would have got killed because of how different it was if it wasn't for the fact that Emma Stone just crushed it as Cruella. So yeah, your list easily could have just interchanged with mine. Jennifer Lawrence is a killer. Emma Stone is a killer. Like you could have fit them in right with mine. So No Red Barons on your list this time. Good job, my friend.
I was trying to. I was like, I would try to fit Anna Joy Taylor in there, Elizabeth Moss, and then you were talking about the people actresses on your list. I'm like, I didn't even think about freaking Reese Witherspoon, but she's not a great person apparently.
That's
But she's
okay.
made some really good movies.
Look, I'm going to tell y'all something right now. I'm not a big a president of his. Like I'm not going to go political, but I watched every Celebrity Apprentice, and if Mr. Trump brought back Celebrity Apprentice, I watch
okay.
it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. My favorite musicians of all time is Michael Jackson, and there's been a lot of things about him. I'm not saying they're true or false. Don't kill me on your.
Right.
But I can, I listen to his music literally every day. So, you have to be able to separate like the entertainment value that you're getting and the person and everything. Julianne Moore is another one that could have been up there.
Julia Roberts,
Nicole Kidman, and Nicole Kidman in her 40s is better than Nicole Kidman was when she was younger. And we're talking like, she don't care, dude. She's still doing like, not that it matters in her acting thing, but I'm just saying for what an amazing, like, typically when you're past 24, like it's harder for you to get roles. You're definitely not getting roles where there's nudity involved or there's relationships, because every 60-year-old guy's got to have a 25-year-old girlfriend on screen with them. Nicole Kidman's like, nah, bruh, I'm going to be nude if I want to be. I'll be in relationships with who the hell I want. I'll play what characters I want. I'll be the lead. I ain't secondary to nobody. That one where they're at that like getaway retreat thing. It's like, I can't remember the name of it, but it has Michael Shannon and stuff. And she's basically the lead character of it. And it's fantastic. That's another one. Just a lot of great lady performers going right now. That you could have done a top 20 and we would have been able to fill it out easily.
Yeah, for sure. I love Elizabeth Moss, dude.
You missed that last part, right?
What?
I go, just
dang it, I did.
The men.
I'm gonna have to rewind.
Any of the men, that's all. All right, so good show tonight. I'm asking quickly. No, most of them are 100 times better than the men. Let's be real.
Right. Well, Mike, we're here. We are with under an hour. We should give ourselves a pat on the back, my friend.
It's just give me Grey Goose before and have me be exhausted, and I won't be. I was messing up a little bit. Like I couldn't figure out how to talk about the AB thing, and that was probably a couple of shots of the Grey Goose. But I was trying to like put it together right in my head, because it's not like he's terrible.
No.
But it's like the other side is so good that it's like, okay, I'm just going to take my risk against the tight ends and against AB, because I'm just not going to throw at Diggs. The guy's just ridiculous. Right. So yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle, but we made it. We did it.
I saw you leaning over and I saw the yawn. I'm like, okay, I'm going to rush through this thing, man. I'm going to rush through this. I was like, I feel like he's getting very close to nodding.
Bro, okay, listen. I got up early, helped my best friend. We closed the Daphne's.
I hate that, dude.
Yeah, it's rough. It's too bad. The food is really good there, but I won't go into it in detail here. We're trying to stand in an hour, but I helped him move refrigerators and TVs and this and that. And I got neuropathy. My body's pretty dead, and I'm coming off a really long, hard Disneyland trip where a vacation for me there isn't like, oh yeah, your rest and relaxation. No, I'm trying to get every photo, every ride, every parade. Like I'm running around like a maniac. My body is dead. And so I was pretty exhausted. And then I get a call about an hour left into hey, the dog got loose. We can't find it. And I'm like, oh my God. And I don't like you humans. Compared to dogs, I don't like any of y'all. Like I'll pick a stray dog over like Paul, and he's one of my close friends. So I was like, there's no way I'm not, going looking for this dog. And I looked around, and it took about an hour, and I found that little brat. And we got him back, and he's good. But I'm like, now I'm tired. And then my brother brings some Grey Goose in, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? That'll, get me relaxed and stuff. So I took a couple shots of that. And then I kind of like was watching wrestling. And I took a couple more. And then I was like, oh shit. It kind of hit me like, oh my God, I have to do this podcast. What am I doing? Like, don't go too crazy. And this is what you get. Me rambling, kind of buzzing, pretty exhausted. We made it all right though. We did okay.
We pushed through, sir. We pushed through. Mike, man, I'm glad we were able to get back on, brother. It was
Yes.
I missed it, dude. I missed it.
Hey, and for most of the time, now that I'm in this new thing and I can kind of set my schedule, I will be off Monday, Thursday, Sunday, almost every week. So we should have no issues doing the Monday podcast, the Thursday podcast. There's going to be times when people call in because I heard that was a big thing there and I'll have to work. But for the most part, we should be pretty set.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Mike, man, as always, I enjoyed the discussion tonight. Before we get you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter, sir.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet, at CD Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.